Everybody comes across this pent-up anger that complains about the cost of price of transport fare during Christmas. Some people in Igbo land will use it and say that Igbos hate themselves. In fact, in Nigeria, it's now being used as an example that Igbos hate themselves. In other tribe, we do, like in Yoruba part of the country, where you have more Christians, the transport also increases in price as well. But then, in Igbo land, it's being used to express hatred and then encourage to make the Igbo people believe that Igbo people hate themselves. Some Igbo people actually see that as a proof, because in Nigeria they are being continually told that they hate themselves and they encourage to hate one another too. So it has become almost a mentality that we have, that we hate one another. So, but when I started before I started traveling, I used to think that there is an element of truth in what they are saying, until I started traveling. And then I understand why the transport fare has to increase in price, double in price during Christmas period. For instance, last year, I was traveling from Abuja to Anambra State, to Oka in particular. And I realized the normal price for transportation from Oka to Anambra, is from Abuja to Anambra is 7,500. But during Christmas, it became 15,000. And I was surprised. So, and I started to make inquiry about the increase in the cost of transport fare during Christmas. Why will it have to double? And I realized what these drivers are going through. The very first thing you will know from these drivers is that these drivers drive from Abuja to Anambra and then go back empty without sleeping. And I realized the driver that was carrying me inside vehicle that day have not slept in 3 days. 3 good days, he have not slept in 3 days. Why? He would drive the vehicle from Abuja, which takes him almost 8 hours. Upon getting to Oka, he offload passenger. He would turn his vehicle and start going back to Abuja. He would drive throughout the night with all the dangers that he can face at night. Alone inside his vehicle, he will be going back to Abuja throughout the night. His family have not seen him in 3 days. Upon getting to Abuja, it's already morning. He parks his vehicle, he load again, and start coming back to Anambra State. That is what this driver have to go through during Christmas period. Now, normally, when they carry passenger 7,500 to Anambra, they carry another passenger 7,500 back to Abuja. But during Christmas, everybody, the road is just one way. Everybody is traveling one way. Everybody is coming from Abuja to Anambra. So during that period, the driver would travel with carry passengers. Each person pays 7,500 from Abuja to Anambra. But on going back to Abuja, he goes empty. So when he gets to Abuja, he has to, in order to be able to render this service to the people without running expenses, incurring expenses on himself, he doubles the cost of payment. So when you are traveling during Christmas, you are actually paying to and fro money, because the driver is going to come back empty without any passenger. If he did not do that, he will not be able to render the service. You cannot be able to go home for Christmas. So when this doubles in price, I started to realize my greatest fear when I was inside the vehicle and I realized the driver driving me have not slept in 3 days. My greatest fear was not the cost of transport. It was not my burden. It was not a problem. My fear was the possibility of accident. He could sleep on the steering. And I started realizing immediately that these drivers are not our problem. Our problem is the government. People who are eager to get angry that the government, that the drivers increase transport fare doing. The driver owes you nothing. He's an individual like you, trying to survive in a harsh economy just like you, taking advantage of his business to make profit from it. But you have people that are working for you, people you employ, people that are supposed to answer to you. They are in the government. They have the resources and the means to stop this hardship during Christmas. They can build railway that connect every part of the country. There are railways in the world now that move twice faster than flight. If you have that type, 2, 3, circulating all over Nigeria, drivers will not have any passenger to carry during Christmas. Why are we not angry that the government sit down every year from January to December and we don't talk about this, don't give a damn about this thing? Rather, we are more angry with the taxi driver who is trying to survive this hard situation, just the way we are doing everything we can do to survive. Somebody that is doing Yahoo is busy insulting a taxi driver. Somebody that is doing 419 is insulting a taxi that is doing honest business. In fact, I have come to realize that we look down on the work of taxi driver in Nigeria. These transport vehicles, we look down on these drivers. And what we don't know is that majority of these drivers today are graduates from the universities who didn't get a job. Like most of us are never going to get a job after graduating. I didn't get a job after graduating. I almost contemplated driving keke. It was by miracle that I happened to get into a business that gave me a reasonable size of money that made me comfortable that I did not start driving keke. So when we talk about them, I was one day inside a vehicle. This woman was insulting the driver for no reason. And I realized, without knowing, that the wife of the driver was seated next. They insulted, and while he was, some other passengers were insulting, until that woman there started to cry. And people asked her why she started. She said, so this is what her husband experiences in his place of work every day. That is the kind of insult, because we look down on them like they are nobody. They are not human beings. A woman, these people that are questioning the increase in the price of transport are the same people that go to salon during Christmas to make their hair. And then they will realize that the person making hair have increased the price of making hair. They don't come to social media to insult the hair salon. They go to social media to insult taxi drivers. The same people go to Taylor during Christmas and Taylor, they have a word for it, they call it season. It's season business. It increases in price. They go to Taylor, they go there for season sewing of clothes and they increase the price of sewing clothes for them. They don't complain. The same taxi, and then they will go to their respective businesses and they realize they have increased the price of selling everything they are selling in their shops. It's not a big problem. But a taxi driver should not. How dare him? He's a taxi driver. Yes, a lot of taxi drivers, especially those that have conductors, they can be very annoying. But we have taken so much aggression to them. We look down on their job. We treat them like they don't deserve our money, even when they have rendered the service. You see somebody that have gone to church, donate 500 naira as offertory, who enter motor that's supposed to pay 80 naira. The person will come down there, give the taxi driver 15 naira. And then the taxi driver will bring the remaining taxi. He or she will start fighting the taxi driver there. Somebody that just donated 500 to as offertory, that the pastor and his wife are going to use to take their children to go and eat fast food after service. That same person will fight a taxi driver for 30 naira that is supposed to be his right. I just don't understand why we treat taxi drivers this way. In fact, when I see somebody complaining, knowing this, with this situation, complaining, I see the person as a very wicked human being. Let me tell you, because this thing needs to be cleared once and for all. Enough of this attitude towards taxi drivers. They deserve what they have earned. They deserve to be paid for the services they are doing for us. They miss their family just to render this service, to make sure you go home and enjoy Christmas. Their family have to. They don't enjoy Christmas so that you will enjoy Christmas. That is what the taxi driver does. The average taxi, because Nigerian government have failed to produce other system of transport that will help solve this problem for them. If Nigeria have a good railway that can connect every part of the country, the taxi driver will not have passenger during Christmas. They will not have a problem. You will not even remember them. They will not bother. Even it's the government that will help to regulate the increase in price in commodities and every services during Christmas. If the government will tell the railway station to reduce their price by half as Christmas gift for people, that kind of thing cannot happen in Nigeria. In fact, that's how we develop. How do we develop the culture of increasing price during Christmas? It comes from so many. One of the ways is that Nigeria is a country divided between Islamic religion and Christian religion. When Islamic people are in power, are controlling the government, which they are doing most of the time in Nigeria, they want to let the Christian know that the Islamic religion is superior to Christianity. Therefore, they attack Christian religion by making sure things become harder. They know during Christmas, demand increases. What did they do? They try to close the borders during Christmas, tighten things so that importation will be hard. This automatically increases the price of everything in the country and increase the price of goods that are coming into the country. That is one. Another one, demand. Usually our demand is greater than our supply. We consume more than we produce during Christmas. In fact, we are not even worried that after Christmas the country usually suffers from inflation for about 2 or 3 months before it recovers from inflation of what we consume during Christmas. That is part of the reason why I don't even enjoy Christmas, because whenever people are enjoying Christmas, I know they are enjoying. The inflation is coming. For January, February is usually inflation. Sometimes it reaches March. Sometimes it's up to April, depending on the economy of that time. That's how unstable our economy is. Just Christmas alone, and the country will start having inflation. That's how much we consume during Christmas. These are things. So the mentality of high demand and low productivity created the culture that during Christmas things are supposed to increase in price. So it has become a culture in Nigeria, especially the part of Nigeria that celebrates Christmas. It is a general culture. Go to any part of Nigeria where majority are Christians and celebrate Christmas. Go there and you see that everything increases in price, including the price of transport. So why is it that when it comes to Igbo people, it's being used as a way to tell Igbo people that they hate the one with themselves? Igbo man is a good businessman. I understand it as a good. Anybody who don't have that mentality is not doing well in business. You either don't do well or you do well in your own business because you have to practice the same thing and you go to blame others to stop them from that, which makes you, what would I call it, a witch. There is a witch that will do that kind of thing. Yes. So what I'm trying to say here is that in Nigeria, the government is the people. Basically, we have to hold them responsible. What is government doing for? Okay, we have not even started talking about the load blocks they put on the road during Christmas. The load blocks are something else. I traveled from Abuja to Anambra State, and until I enter Enugu State, I did not meet up to 10 load blocks along such a long distance road. And then later I entered Anambra State from Enugu to Oka. I encountered up to 20 in just a very short distance. I can't even talk of the one, and each time the driver has to settle them, give them money and all that. We are not even discussing that. The harassment these drivers go on the road while traveling. We're not talking about the road being bad, the hold up. During Christmas, drivers spend more time on hold up than they spend on ordinary time. Something that they will take you in 1 hour. If you're inside their taxi, the thing they will go that distance 1 hour, 30 or 2 hours. If it is a type of taxi that normally read and you pay according to how many times the taxi driver was carrying, as they do abroad, you will realize that it will increase in price, because when you're in hold up, the time is ticking, and at the end they calculate the price based on the time. You find that it's the same thing that these Igbo men are applying. It's a civilized mentality. Is what is happening, is what it's supposed to be. You cannot tell a person, a businessman, not to increase the price of his product when he knows that every other thing is increasing in price at that moment. There is an inflation. The same taxi man that is not supposed to, you that is selling shoe, will increase the price of the shoe you're selling. The person selling, doing hair will increase the price of hair he's selling. The person sewing clothes will increase the price of their clothes. The person selling everything, all the traders will increase the price. The taxi driver will still go and buy those things for his children. How will he not get the extra money to buy it? It's by increasing in price as well, so he can have that extra money to meet up with the added value. Chicken is also going to increase in price this Christmas. Chicken they used to sell 3,500 might be 5,000 this Christmas. People are not complaining. Okay, this is not an Igbo mentality. Why is it that cow also increase in price during Christmas? Every Christmas, cow increases in price. For what reason? Is it Igbo people that are handling cow? No, the cow is being ruled by other tribes in Nigeria. So why is it that during Christmas they increase the price of cow? Is it greediness? What is it about? It's the forces of demand and supply. So when people don't get their facts right, and when people don't know how the proper time to blame and the proper person to blame, they transfer the blame against one another. And that is what I want us to cancel this year. In fact, 2020, this mentality should not follow us of complaining about the increase. You must have complained about the government not solving this problem. Now that I said, everybody knows government is supposed to solve this problem for us, not the taxi driver. So if by December 2020, we still don't have railways that are functioning, please complain about the government when you're going back for Christmas. Don't complain about taxi driver increasing in price for his services. Don't complain about the flight increasing in price. Complain about the taxi drivers. If by 2020, as the president, what was he doing in office from January to December that made him not to build that functioning railway? Calculate the amount of time other countries used to build their functioning railway. And as the president, why haven't he done it? There is enough time. 3 months is enough to build railway that will connect every part of Nigeria.